So I didn't really know what to do for a video today, and I didn't really think my stream was going to be working because it wasn't working earlier today, but since it is now, I want to make a video just about talking about my personal view of the game and why I like to play as a lurker, and why other positions don't really work out for me too well. It's mostly just going to be like I don't know, just casual conversation about CS. You know, I love this game. I love talking about it. So, but anyways, when I started playing the game 5 months ago, approximately, it didn't take long for me to realize that I didn't want to be the entry fragger. Well, as soon as after a couple of months when I learned what the roles were, I kind of, even from the start of the game, realized that I didn't want to be the guy who was like just kind of running in trying to get the kills, like having my teammate flash me running in trying to get the kills. It's just annoying because when you're trying to do shit like that, you never get a chance to outplay the enemy team yourself. Like you don't get a chance to be better than them as a whole, as a player. Like you get to be better, you get to showcase that your aim is better than theirs, or that your reaction time is better than theirs. But obviously, this game's a lot more than just aim and reaction time. So it was just annoying. And plus, when I first started playing, obviously I haven't been playing this game for very long, and my aim and reaction time wasn't the greatest back then. So it was just annoying. And when I was trying to go in first, I was always dying, mostly to an opper, because again, I didn't really know how to manage my nades either. So I didn't really like being the entry fragger that much. But it took me a while to realize that. It took me a while, and when I first started watching pro demos, I realized that the game was a lot slower than it is when you're playing, like, in the early levels of matchmaking, when you're playing against, like, the late silver to gold Nova stage, where everybody's just rushing shit. Like, the only strats that people really know are rush A, rush B. You know, it's like, people don't really understand what a default is, or how to play for picks, or how to use the clock to your advantage and use the time that you have wisely instead of just, making the round end every 20 or 30 seconds. So once I was exposed to this type of slower, methodical, passive CS, I just kind of realized that was how I wanted to play the game. And that's how I wanted to approach the game. And there was a few videos on YouTube where pros will say stuff like, it's something about consistency, where when people are saying that they're inconsistent, when their aim is good, then they play well, and when their aim is bad, they don't play well. And I remember, I think it was Adren saying something to the effect of, even if your aim isn't on point, you should still be able to play well because of your game sense, because of being knowledgeable of what you should do in certain situations and making the right plays and having good situational awareness and having good game sense. And I felt like and that was exactly like how I felt, where my aim wasn't on point, I wasn't getting kills, I was dying, and I wasn't fragging well, and then the next day I would drop like 30-40 bombs consistently. And I began to notice that I didn't really think that I knew much about the game outside of just aim and reaction time. I didn't really know that there was more to it than just that. And that's kind of when I started getting better at the game and started understanding that there's a lot more to it than just getting headshots. But as far as the lurker role, like the way that I like to approach lurking is, if say I'm a terrorist side lurker, this is like my favorite. I like lurking on terrorist side a lot more than I like lurking on CD side, because I feel like you can do a lot more, and you can really win rounds for your team and close out rounds for your team that, if you didn't have a lurker doing stuff like this, otherwise might not be as concrete. But say I'm on cash, for the first few rounds, like, obviously pro team lurkers get a chance to review the other team's demos, and so they can kind of already have an idea of what the other guys like to do, like where their lurker likes to play, because usually, like, you and the enemy team lurker are like fighting against each other. There's like a little mini battle between them trying to flank your team and you trying to flank the flanker. But pro teams get a chance to get some insight into what those guys like to do and how they like to play. But when you're playing, obviously, in like a matchmaking server or a pug, you don't really get that opportunity. So it's really important in the first few rounds of your playing to kind of feel out the enemy team and see what they like to do. See if they're an aggressive team, a passive team. See if they like pushing sites a lot. Getting information from your team of what they like to do. So when I'm trying to lurk on on terrorist side, whenever I'm on cache, usually the first place that I like to go is I like to go B, and I like to just kind of either come close, like for the first time, maybe come close, and just kind of wait for them to turn the corner, and see if somebody's going to push B. You don't want to like expose yourself too wide, obviously, because somebody can opt that angle. You kind of just want to like post an angle like this, maybe a little bit closer to the wall, and just see if they're going to push you and see how many people will push you. And if you know, obviously, if your crosshair placement is good and like generally at head level, then all you have to do is click and they're dead. So it's not like you're putting yourself in a high risk situation. You're not really doing anything fantastic. You're just seeing it if they'll push B. Like it's good to know if they're actually willing to do this. And the first time they do it, you know, okay, there's a chance that they could do this. I have to actually play according to this. But it's good to like feel out the team and see, okay, let's see if they're gonna push this. And I'll come here for the first couple of rounds, you know. Usually I'll come here on pistol round, and then I'll go, you know, first gun round, see what happens. But in addition, it's important to understand what they're doing on eco rounds, because eco rounds is when they're gonna do crazy shit like sending 5 guys to push B or sending 5 guys to push mid or something crazy like that. So if by chance that they start losing in the gun rounds, they might try and do something similar. But you know, if they're pushing, I'll get the kill. And when you're lurking, it's really important to not actually play the same spot too much. So like say I'm playing the spot and then I kill somebody and then I come back and I play the spot again, they could easily just come around the corner and pre-fire at my head, and then I'll probably lose that gunfight. So like I can play here one round, and then maybe I can play a little more passively. Maybe I can play like a slight off angle, like right here or here, or maybe I'll even go as far as like I like doing this when I'm getting owned to those positions, like my aim's not on point and I'm losing the battles I should be winning. I like to come back here and play more passive lurk, or even so much back here if they're like pushing T-spawn a lot, just because you can just listen for them to push and then just post onto this angle. And there's a pretty good chance that if they're coming around, that if they're pushing and they're coming around the corner, they're not going to be pre-aimed here, they're going to be pre-aimed here, so you get a good chance to just shoot them in the side of the head if you're playing there. But also like if you play here and you kill someone and they know that spot's available, like every time you kill someone from a lurk spot, they're gonna know that you like that. They're gonna know that you actually are willing to play there, and they're actually check those spots. It's important to like mix it up and change up your spots. So once you kill somebody from there, you come here, and then they're gonna be pre-aimed on this spot looking for you, and they shoot them on the side of the head from here. It's a huge mind game. But in the first few seconds of the round, first 23 seconds of the round, I just sit here and wait for a push, and then hopefully my team, like it's important to have a team have a good entry fragger for starters, and have a team that's going the other side of the map. Like you're maintaining map control and you're watching for the pusher so that your team can't get flanked B, which is really important when you're playing any sort of strategy or default. But you can't just sit here and watch the push forever. So once your teammates start pushing on the other side of the map, say they're going A, or they're taking mid or something, eventually the counter terrorists that are at B are going to start to rotate off. And this is where reading the team really comes into play, because you want to, like, for the first few rounds, just like you're feeling out whether or not they like to push, you're going to be feeling out how heavily they like to rotate from certain sites. So if I'm here and my teammates are taking A, then maybe I'll come and I'll push through B. I'll walk through B. It's important that you just walk through B without throwing shit, because if you throw nades at this place and there's still somebody in the site, or there's somebody that's running away from the site, they're going to know that you're there and they're going to be expecting you to backstab them. So it's important that you just walk in, not make any noise, not throw any nades, and just kind of walk through and see if you can catch either the CTs rotating, or you can push hard enough to where you can catch them rotating, or you can catch people who are still in the site and you can like kind of mess with them and fight them and stop them from rotating and helping their team stop your team who's actually like doing the strategy for the rest of the round. Like if they're trying to take A and you're holding off their rotators here, it's good for your team. Your team is going to win the take if it's 4 of them versus at max, a couple of CTs there. But say there's nobody here and you're pushing all the way around. Like if you get here, you're gonna get some impact frags, just because you're gonna be catching the guys that are rotating from mid all around a truck, and even more so, like say you still don't see any carrying tires. If you get here, you haven't seen any CT, something's going on. But then you could get a chance to come through Z, check for Z, come around and check highway, kill the guys in the back highway. Like you're really fucking with the CTs, and you're really messing with them, and you're forcing them to, you know, instead of them all having their attention towards your teammates that are taking A, they have to actually worry about the guy that's going to come and stab them in the back too, and it really hinders their rotates and makes it so they can't all focus their attention on stopping your teammates from taking the site. It's really useful. But you know, you can see this and say you come around and you lurk at B and you just wreck them. You know, you get 1 or 2 rotate kills and you win the round for your team. Well, you're probably not gonna fuck somebody over the same way twice. They're gonna, because once you do it, they're gonna be weary of it, and they're gonna maybe hang out at the site a little bit more, because at the end of the day, you're a lurker by yourself. So like, no one's gonna trade the frag on you if you die. So if they're expecting you, then they're gonna be pre-aimed on where you're gonna come at. And they kill you, it's like completely free frag. So you gotta be really careful. But you know, say I do that, and you know, I get the kill. I got the kill mid. Okay, well I got the kill. The guy's B. And now, say I want to come and I want to lurk at mid. I can do the same shit. I can come, you know, ask my teammates, hey, do they like to push mid? And if it's later in the game, if it's early in the game, I'll just come and play corner like this. Or maybe play like this. You know, or play right here. Playing right here is kind of risky because obviously they can spam the wall. So I like playing in this corner because if they spam through here, you're not in any danger. And if they come rushing through here, you can shoot them side ahead. And what's cool is you can also hear the guys that are pushing through B if they haven't pushed through B, so you can see, you know, you're set up to kill the pushers coming through here, and you're set up to kill the pushers coming through here. And I mean, if they're say they're flanking through T-spawn, it's a really long rotate, and it's not going to hurt your team nearly as much for them to rotate all the way around that way than it is for them to come through here. Chances are, if they go all the way around, then your teammates will already be on the site, and they'll be set up in some sort of post-plant position where if someone comes and rotates from T-spawn, they'll be ready for it by then. So, but you know, you do this and say, you know, nobody pushes here. Well, then your teammates are, again, they're taking A, and you're mid. Like after your teammates are out A and they're fighting, chances are the mid guys are going to be rotating over to A quickly because they got this really fast rotate to highway. So like, it's important for your timing to be good, and you kind of listen for the CTs running away and rotating to A. But as soon as they start rotating, you can just come out and just kill some people on the side of the head and get lurk kills that way. Like, this is basically the extent of lurking is about. You're trying to just fuck with their team as much as possible and make it so it's difficult for them to just play normally, and they have to worry about stuff that they normally wouldn't have to be worried about. So, but the same goes for A. Like, it's a really cut and paste strategy for a lurker most of the time on T side. You come and you watch a certain particular site, or you watch a particular place, usually the opposite place, usually on the opposite bomb site of where your team's going, or just a different place from where your team is going. Like if they're going A, like if they're going mid, you go A or B. If they go B, you go A or mid. You know, it's, you know, you're in a place that they're not going to immediately expect you to be. You know, if their teammates are calling B, 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 you're not going to be. If the CT's teammates are calling, you know, they're at B, they're at mid, you're not going to be with them. So they really don't. As long as you're switching it up and you're playing in different places all the time, they're really not going to have any idea where you are, and they always got to be careful of over rotating because of that lurk kill. But when you're lurking in general, first few seconds of the round, you just come and you kind of watch for a push in a safe angle and watch for a push. Nobody pushes, you tell your teammates, go ahead and hit the site, start hitting the site, and once they start executing their strategy, you give the CTs a few seconds to rotate off. And obviously you kind of have to like read the team and understand from previous rounds like how fast they like to rotate, how hard they like to rotate from certain sites, and that's key in you getting lurk kills. That's the key to you coming out at the perfect time and shooting a bunch of people in the side of the head or shooting a bunch of people in the back. That's how you get impact frags, and that's how you just completely demolish the CTs and pick them apart. But you watch for push, and then eventually you pick your moment to strike, and you strike, and you go for the flanks. That's pretty much the extent of being a T-side lurker. And obviously, when you're doing this, like I said earlier, you don't really want to throw any nades. So you're kind of like, your nades should be used earlier in the round. Like if your teammates want to send somebody mid, you should be the one that's smoking off, like, you know, throwing the smoke for Z or throwing the smoke for whatever, and just using your utility in whatever way you can. Like if they're gonna go B, what you can do is you can come with your teammates B, and they want to hit a fast B, then you can like you can throw your smoke for them, and then you can throw shit through the window, throw all your shit for your teammates, flash for them, and use all your nades, since you're probably not going to use them if you're like once you start striking and once you start going in for the lurk, you're probably never going to actually like did that multi even hit? Once you're going for the lurk, your chances are you're not going to use your nades anymore, because you're either gonna die, like you're either gonna kill a bunch of counter-terrorists and you're gonna finish off the round, or they're gonna be expecting your lurk and you're gonna die. That's pretty much the two scenarios that happen when you're lurking. Or third option, you're gonna end up in a clutch scenario between a bunch of counter-terrorists because all your teammates died, which is honestly like it's a legitimate possibility, and this is why the lurkers are always ending up in a bunch of clutch situations. This is why I see players like Get Right and Hiko being really good at clutch situations, because they're always in them, because they're the lurkers. They're always going to be the ones that are last alive. So that's another part of being a lurker, is you have to be able to keep composure in clutch situations, and you have to be able to take advantage of as much as you can and try and win as many as you can. So, but obviously, if you're doing this in like solo queue with teammates who aren't really familiar with your playstyle, they're gonna be four guys. They're gonna go A. They're all gonna die, and they're like, "Why didn't you come with us? We died because you weren't here." And whatever. You gotta keep doing what you're doing. You can't listen to them, because they don't understand what you're trying to do. So yeah, you want to use your nades effectively, and you want to make sure that you use them before you pick your spot and you execute your lurk. But that's basically it on T-side lurking. Like there's it depends on the map. It depends. You have to really understand the map. You have to really understand how common rotation spots are used. You have to read the enemy team really well, and you have to get a grasp of what they're doing at a very early start. But CD side lurking is hardly like, sometimes you don't even lurk. You just play CD side normally. You're just holding sites or holding places on the map. But CD side lurking is obviously a lot different. You don't really get to look for. You don't really get to watch for, like on CD side when people push, like when they push A, or they push when they push A main, when they push mid, when they push B main. There's usually going to be like one, max two people there. But when you're CD side, like when you're counter-terrorist, that's not the case. Usually, if you're going to catch someone pushing, you're going to catch a bunch of people pushing, and it's not going to be as much of a free kill. You're not going to have the drop on them, because you're going to be playing in some situation, or you're going to be playing in some location that they're already going to be familiar with. So when you're lurking on CD side, like, you could just play it normally, like a normal counter-terrorist, but if you're trying to lurk, you're generally trying to just do the same thing. You're trying to flank the terrorist team, and you're trying to just fuck with their strats and not let them execute what they want to do. And it's not as easy on CD side as it is on T side, because their lurker, if they have a good lurker, they're gonna be like expecting shit like this from you, and they're gonna be ready. And you're gonna get free fragged a lot, just because there's gonna be some lurker hiding in a corner, waiting for you to do something like this. But like on Cash, I'm usually the mid player, and I like to come out mid. I like to smoke Z, and then my favorite place to play is in vents. Like, if you don't have the greatest mid spawn, it could be a little problematic, because you can smoke Z, and if they decide to just push through Z, they'll kind of push out and catch you while you're trying to get to vents. So it can be a little problematic for you, and you might, if you don't have the greatest spawn, you could try and play somewhere else on mid. But once you get to vents, this is a really strong position for this map. This is probably the best place you can play as a CT in mid, because you can spot, boost, and garage really well, and you have this cover to hide behind if there's a bunch of people coming. You can't get rushed like you can if you're playing like there in highway. You can very easily hide, and if they're going to start chasing you, you can just break this vent. You can break this vent, and you can drop into checker, and then you're safe. You're safe with your teammates. But you can spot mid, and you can listen for people in B main and people in B main running away and rotating through mid, and you can also help the guys at B like this. And it's kind of important that you don't break this vent right away when you look this way, because say a terrorists are pushing up B main and they're coming, like say I'm a terrorist and I'm pushing up, I'm pushing through checker, or I'm pushing through B main and I'm getting into checker. Once I get here, if there's somebody in vents, they're gonna kill me, and I can't really see them from here. Like it's kind of hard to, you know, there's a guy in here. He's gonna be like here in the corner, and he can see you even when you're still in B main coming into checker. So like it's you can really mess up a terrorist side coming into B main if they're not aware that somebody can be in checker, if they're not doing something about it, if they're not at the very least like breaking this vent before they come in. So it's nice. Like if your teammates are calling that they're coming in B, you can easily shoot the people in the back coming in checker and you know, make them drop the bomb and mess them. But like you want to get the most out of this position, because like once you're playing in vents a lot, like if they get the terrorist side's gonna adapt to what you're doing eventually. So if you're playing in vents every round, and you're always doing this to their B players, and you're always checking for mid, eventually they're just gonna say, you know, fuck this guy, we're gonna Molotov him out. And this is where you have to like, this is where it really gets. Is it here? But this is where it's really gonna get difficult for you, because like, then, you know, once they start, I failed that, but you know, this whole place is gonna be on fire. And then you're gonna have to like, you're gonna be in a really crappy situation once they Molotov, because if the terrorist team is, or if the terrorist side is organized and coordinated, then they're gonna have this guy throw the Molotov, and as soon as the Molotov pops, these guys are gonna come out mid. These guys are gonna throw shit, and they're gonna come out mid, and you're gonna be on fire. So you're gonna have one of two choices. You're either gonna have to run out of the vents, and you're gonna have to, and they're gonna be coming out when you're trying to run. So you have to like run at all these terrorists that are rushing at you, or better, like you're not as good, but best play is usually just break this vent and get the hell out of the vent. But they're taking so much mid control by doing this, because they're basically they're eliminating one of your mid players. They're turning you as a mid player into you as a B player, and chances are if they're going mid, they're probably not even going to come B. Like if they're doing this, they're probably just going to split A, and they're basically eliminating the mid player for free. And if you're playing only one guy mid, then they're going to get mid for free. If you're playing two guys mid, he's probably going to get overrun. He's going to have to go to A. So when you're playing in certain spots, like just in general on CD side, but mostly when you're lurking, you have to mix it up, and you have to just change your spots. You know, you can't play vents every round, and you definitely can't, like, sandbags is another cool place to play, because you can kind of hide here and duck and just not peek and let the terrorists think they're taking mid, and then you can pop up and shoot them all in the back if they're not expecting you to play there. But again, once they realize that once they see you play sandbags, they can easily just Molotov you out, and then you're really stuck, because
throwing fire.
Like all this is on fire, and you have to run out, and you don't have any cover. You just basically have to just run out in the open when you're on fire, and they're gonna free frag you. So it's important to mix it up. You know, sometimes you can do that. Sometimes you can get a little bit more aggressive. You can smoke Z. You can smoke Z. You can break the vents, and then you can kind of like play really close to the smoke, where you can hide here, or you can have one of your teammates come and boost you over, or you can go through the smoke. Like you can throw the smoke a little deeper and go through it, or you can flash on one side of the smoke and then do this, or you can throw the smoke, like I said, you can throw it a little deeper.
Smoke!
And you can like flash through it, flash into it, come through it. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff you can do as CD side lurker, but the problem is most of it can be countered by the terrorist lurker. Like you can flash through it and you can do this, but you'll do this and then the flash probably won't get this guy hiding behind their lurker. If their lurker's hiding behind the box, and they're just gonna get the free kill on you. So it's like you're taking risks with it, but you're really if they don't have a lurker posted on you, then chances are if you make plays like this, you're gonna, one, stop them from executing their strategy, and two, you're probably gonna get a fuck ton of kills. Like say I'm the B player, say I'm lurking at B and I don't see anybody coming, and I start pushing up, and I'm pushing up, and I'm pushing up, there's nobody here, and I get all the way around, and then, you know, they're trying to go mid, and I come here, and I see all these guys in the garage, and I get all these kills in the back. So it's really a high risk, high reward type of play style. Well, not necessarily high risk, more like medium risk, high reward that you're taking when you're being a counter-terrorist lurker, and when you're when you're trying to flank them. Like you're going to be trying to flank them a lot, but you can't flank them predictably, and you can't always flank them. Sometimes you just got to play it normally. And sometimes you just play as a normal counter-terrorist. You can only go for these like ballsy plays like a few times a half before they're eventually going to catch on to it, and they're just going to know what you're doing. And then by that point, like if you're always playing the predictable flank, then you're just going to get they're just going to like get a bunch of free kills on you. So lurking, it's a cool position to play. I like it. I like it because like a lot of the lurk kills that you get, you don't have to have aim that's on point. You don't have to like you don't have to have the greatest reaction time most of the time. A lot of the times you're going to be coming in, you're going to be shooting people who are blind, or shooting people in the back, or shooting people on the side, or flanking an entire team. Like you obviously your aim and your reaction time is still important, but it's not central to you performing well in a game like it is when you're ninja fragging. You can get plenty of free kills in the back, and it doesn't really matter if your aim is on or off. So that's why I like playing lurker, and that's how I try to approach it for most maps. Anyways, that's it.